Wow, I just I don't see a way out. I don't see a way out. It's looking pretty bleak in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are struggling with this because of the shortened training camps and the no preseasons. I don't know if it's communication issues. I don't know. Certain teams have different defensive schemes. We've seen the Bills struggle with it, like we talked about, 2 straight weeks, even though they got the wins. I mean, with the Chargers-Chiefs game, it was just kind of a matter of the Chiefs getting their act together. But we're seeing a lot of these giving up, these leads being blown. And I think the Falcons have just taken the brunt of it because of how pathetic it's been. But a lot of teams are giving up these big leads late in games. And I don't know if that's COVID related or what, but it seems to be a little strange and happening at a higher rate than it has in seasons past.
Yeah, this is the weirdest season, I think. I mean, this has to be the weirdest season of our lifetime with the whole pandemic going on. And I think you're kind of just seeing it on the field, man. I agree. It has to be COVID. Like that's got to be like a major key factor in this whole situation. Like, I mean, think about it this way. Also, we just found out Tennessee literally had to shut down operations because 3 players tested positive and nobody's allowed back in until Saturday. And they got a game on Sunday. Like, how the fuck is that?
They're saying that they might have to forfeit the game.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So
I wonder if I can pick. I wonder if that happens.
I wonder if the spread is as well.
Right. Yeah. I'd love to know if I can pick if that's the case. If I could pick the Steelers in my survivor pool for a forfeit, wonder if that works. That might be something I could pull off. What do you think?
I think it's a go, man. Go for it.
I'm gonna see what the rules are on that. That's tough. What I will say too is that I don't, not only that it's COVID, but I think that the rules are set up in the NFL for comebacks. I think that the way the league's rules favor passing offenses, I think what happens is you can throw downfield, particularly when you have defenses that go into this prevent mode. I don't know why teams kind of lay off the throttle when you're up big on a team. You start running the ball, you go 3 and out. You stop taking risks, you stop pushing the ball down the field, and you're quickly turning it over to these offenses that can move down the field quickly on you. And I think it's the nature of the games that towards the end, we all talk about garbage time. I'm sure we all play fantasy football. You get beat up in garbage time, right? These guys that, they are very easily able to pick apart these loose zone defenses and score some points at the end. And every once in a while, you start getting into that prevent mode a little bit too early. I think Buffalo did that. Talking about it this week, you're up 25 points. Those these leads can evaporate really quickly with all these really good offenses. And I don't know. I think teams have to be cognizant of that. And unless you're playing a really poor team, if you look at the teams that weren't able to pull off those comebacks, right? Like the teams that got down early and stayed down. Like I already made reference to the 2 New Jersey teams. They don't have the roster to make those games close, but teams are dangerous nowadays, man. These offenses are no joke.
Yeah, Reuter, I respect the fact that you're sticking with the Jersey theme for the Jets and the Giants. You said that you were going to do that, and you stay true to it, man. I really appreciate that.
If you go with by sheer alliteration alone, the Jersey Jets and the Jersey Giants just sounds better.
It honestly do. Like we're calling that from this podcast from now on. Like they are the Jersey Jets and the Jersey Giants. The Bills are our only true New York team.
That's right.
Yeah. Duke, I got a question for you, bro.
Yes.
Is Drew Brees done? Is it over for him?
Yeah, I've been saying this for a couple seasons. Not that he was done. But it's been a running theme the past 2 seasons at least, maybe going back 3 seasons, that he's very strong in the first 8 weeks and then slowly regresses going into the second half of the season. He's had a couple of good playoff appearances, but he can't maintain that zip. I think so. If I'm him, I'm retiring after this season. He kind of reminds me of Peyton in Peyton's final year, but they don't have that defense to carry him to the Super Bowl. He can still make smart decisions, but in that offense, it's not about smart decisions. It's about big plays, explosive plays, opening up everything else. it's just not a good situation for a quarterback and at his point in his career. I didn't think he would be like this bad. Not that he's I mean it's kind of a weird situation. I didn't think he would be as bad as he has been opening the year. But I kind of figured that this would be his last effective year, if not last season. I think he's gone. I think the Saints have to figure out what they're doing sooner rather than later.
The whole offense is literally passes don't go further than 10 yards down the field.
And they can't do that in Peyton's system.
It's ridiculous how inept this offense looks. And you go look at his numbers from this past game against Green Bay. He put up solid numbers. The man threw 3 touchdowns, 288 yards. Like, if you look at just the numbers alone, you would think that, oh, shit, Drew Brees still got it. That's why it's always important. You got to judge these games by watching them. You can't just go by stats. You got to watch these games. Because if you watch these games, it's literally just check down to Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara had 13 catches for over 120 yards. And it's just yards after catch. Like, it's all yards after catch. Like, the ball travels an average of like 6 yards in the air. I think I've seen a stat on Pro Football Reference. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, like, now you're missing your best receiver, Michael Thomas. He has a high ankle sprain, and even when he comes back, he probably ain't gonna be the same for a couple of weeks. Like, receivers, you got a deep threat that can't even go deep because you can't throw it far. Like, for them to throw the ball deep, they're doing trick plays with fucking Taysom Hill. Like, they got to do flea flickers with this dude to be able to take a shot 50 yards down the field because Drew Brees can't do it no more. And there's a couple of plays in that Green Bay game where he's just getting to wind up and he's just hesitant to let it go. Like, because he's thinking like, yo, I can't get it there. This is probably going to be an interception. Let me pull it back and let me dump it off to Kamara, hopefully he does something with it. So right now the Saints are 1-2. I was saying last week when or this past weekend when we was picking the games, I would be shocked, or I would not be shocked if Drew Brees is benched before the season is over, because this offense is limited. Like, this is not the same New Orleans offense we've seen in 2012, 2013, where Drew Brees is just slinging it all over the field, 5,000 yards back-to-back seasons. Like, his arm is done. Like, his arm is cooked. He's still smart as shit. He's still making the right decisions. He's not going to hurt you in turnovers and things of that nature there. But when it takes you 20 plays to drive down the field to score a touchdown and you're not getting no quick strikes or nothing of that nature there, like, that just puts such a fucking hindrance on just your team in general, man. And he looks done to me. He looks shot. And then you're going against Aaron Rodgers, who looks fucking amazing right now. Like, he's just doing it like Aaron Rodgers shit. Ruder, what you thinking, bro?
Yeah. I'd agree with you completely, with the exception of the fact that I would be shocked if Drew Brees was benched before this year is out. He's been the face of that franchise for the last decade and then some. And I do love what you said, though, about, you just look at the stats, 29 for 36, 288 and 3 touchdowns, and you think to yourself, wow, Drew Brees doing Drew Brees things, right? But watching the game, you realize that you look a little further, and 19 of the 29 completions went to running backs, tight ends, and then some mess to whatever you'd call Taysom Hill. But he's not the same guy. You can make excuses. You can say, okay, Michael Thomas was out. That's his top target. That's a guy that he would feed the ball, 15 targets a game normally, so he wasn't there. But yeah, he's just not the same player. I mean, let's face it. It's not like he just suddenly forgot how to play. The guy's 41 years old. Age creeps up on all of us, I suppose. So I think it's his time. And I agree with Duke completely that he should ride off into the sunset after this year. I think that he just can't play to the same caliber that we're used to watching him play.
Get Jameson there, man.
You made a really good point about the yards after carry and how you can't just look at stats. Because if you looked at stats, I mean, he's creeping near he threw 180 against Tampa Bay, but the Raiders and Packers, he was creeping towards 300 yards. You would think that he's leading some prolific offense. They scored 24 and 30, but if you look a little bit deeper, Kamara had 139 yards receiving, and I believe he had he had somewhere between 90 to 100 in the Raiders game. And I mean, if if they were 2-1 instead of 1-2 right now, tomorrow would be like the MVP shortlist because he's absolutely carrying that offense with Thomas out.
Yeah.
And Breeze is still making smart plays when, I mean, he's finding like Smith and Sanders when he can, but it's just physically he's not there. He's still a great offensive mind. He still reads the field probably better than anyone, but it's sad to see. It's sad to see. I was sad to see it with Peyton, even though he won that last ring. But everyone will always remember that he was kind of carried there. And the Saints aren't going to carry Breeze, and it might be a very bad record for him in his final season if he does make the decision to walk away after this.
Yeah, man, it ain't looking too good for them boys. And then Tom Brady, meanwhile, he's looking like he's back to some form of himself because he's looking shitty as well to start the season, but he's still kind of throwing passes and whatnot too. But he can they're at least tempting to throw the ball down the field. Like they at least try. They don't even try with Drew Brees no more. So, sorry, Saints fan, ain't looking too good for you guys. Although shout out to McCoy on that block for Alvin Kamara. That shit was dope. Seeing the lineman move like that to go get a block, I love seeing shit like that. I kind of want to wrap up this segment talking about right now my front runner for MVP, Mr. Russell Wilson himself. Can we just talk about how amazing this dude is? Like, because I don't think like people don't talk about it enough. Honestly, I really don't.
He's so fun to watch, man. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm not the biggest fan of Metcalf. I think they use him very well in that offense, but I just don't. He's never really had a amazing number one wide receiver, and he's been an MVP. He should have been an MVP candidate for the past 5 years. I picked Rodgers at the beginning of the year. I'm gonna stick with it because I feel like he's still right there. But Wilson, I would love to see Wilson win his first MVP. He deserves it. He might. It's fun watching that team, man. It's fun watching that team. That Seahawks-Falcons game to open the year was amazing. The Patriots game was one of the most entertaining games of the year thus far. He might be more fun to watch than Mahomes thus far this year. I love it.
Yeah, man, he's really a different and unique player out there. You know, you can say that Mahomes with his rocket cannon arm just throwing deep shots at Hardman and Watkins and Hill. You could say the elusiveness and the speed watching Lamar Jackson, rip a run off the edge for 25 yards. There's guys that are highly entertaining and that all have pieces. You can talk about, the way Aaron Rodgers just flicks his wrist. It's like a cannon just on a laser beam, right to his receiver in the corner of the end zone. And it's kind of like, you watch Russ a little bit and he's got a little bit of all of that. He's maybe as elusive in the pocket as any quarterback in the league. He doesn't have that flat out speed of a Lamar Jackson, but he's incredibly hard to bring down. He's creative in the backfield. When he does throw on the run or from the pocket, it's incredibly accurate and on the money. Watching him throw a deep ball to these receivers is about as beautiful a thing as you're going to see in sports. Watching the ball travel 45 yards in the air, and it's like he's dropping it from 2 feet away into a trash can, just right in the receiver's arms every time. And what's kind of fun to watch is he does have some players around him now that can make plays for him. Tyler Lockett, maybe the most impressive improvement that I've seen from any player in football. He's not just that deep threat anymore. He's a complete receiver. He can beat you. In the short passing game, he can beat you deep. That's a hell of a player he's got there with him. That's one nasty combo. Russ he was one DK Metcalf early celebration away from a 6-touchdown game. The guy's incredible, fun to watch. Just all the superlatives. He deserves all of it. So
for him,
brought up the footwork in the pocket too. It's such an underrated aspect of his game. He might have the best footwork in the pocket in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And when you couple that with his ability to get out of the pocket, it's almost impossible to make the man uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which is just a great luxury to have.
He has this unique ability, I'm sure you've seen it, where he turns his back to the play, which you don't see a lot, but he he seems like he has an awareness as well. Not only is it the footwork, but it's also an awareness of where the defenders are on the field, and he allows them to reverse